you will be empowered to fill these forms out with a real high degree of accuracy and knowledge, and that's exactly what you want to do, because it stands out when you fill out a form correctly. They love it, you know, and that's, you want to use every advantage. Here's updated filing address information. They're saying this just because, you know, some of the addresses in this instruction sheet might be old. So if it's 30 days or more, check the page that we just checked. That's pretty straightforward. What is the purpose of this form? We know that this form is used by a person who is in the United States to apply for U.S. citizenship and immigration services, to adjust to permanent resident status, or register for permanent residence. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing. In our situation, we call it adjustment of status, because we are going to come in as a tourist, come in on a non-immigrant visa, and adjust that status to permanent resident. Who may file this Form I-485? Based on an immigrant petition. That's where we are. You may apply to adjust your status if an immigrant visa number is immediately available to you based on an approved immigrant petition. That's our category right there, so we know that. And our other tutorials, the I-130 tutorial goes into that, what all that means. So we're not going to dwell on that. And so let's go. Based on admission as a fiance of a U.S. citizen and subsequent marriage. Well, this is another kind of marriage. And really, you are entering legally as a fiance, and you're married, so you can definitely use this I-485 for that. Okay. You may apply to adjust status if you're admitted to the United States as a K-1 fiancé of a U.S. citizen and you married that citizen within 90 days of your entry. Okay, what if you married it on 91, right? That's always the question that pops up. Well, that's a really good question, but we're not going to go into those things right here. If you were admitted as a K-2 child, okay, yeah, that's those are the K-1 things. And based on continuous residence, other bases of eligibility, who's not eligible to adjust status. Yeah. You entered the United States in transit without a visa, right? You were not admitted or paroled following an inspection by an immigration officer. So they're laying out these other scenarios that you cannot get a green card. And it's not really true. There are ways to get it, and they talk about, unless you're applying for creation of a record based on continuous residence since before January 1st, 72, or adjustment of status under a category in which special rules apply, such as 245I. 245I is the provision that allows for people who entered illegally to get a green card. It's the 245I provision, and we have a separate tutorial, but basically, if you filed an application, an old application, you can use that application to what they call grandfather yourself in under the old law. But that's beyond the scope of what we're going for. But there are different ways that you are not allowed to get a green card, and that's why we're just focusing on the way to get a green card. Let's look at this. You failed to maintain your non-immigrant status other than through no fault of your own or for technical reasons, unless you are applying because you are. So if you fall out of status, your non-immigrant status, if you fail to maintain that, they're saying you cannot get a green card unless you are, boom, an immediate relative, a U.S. citizen, parent, spouse, right there. So what does that say? You can fall out of status, and if you are filing as a spouse of a U.S. citizen, you can get your green card. That's what it's saying. So there's different reasons why you can't get it, and here's another one. You were admitted to the United States as a visitor under the visa waiver program unless you are applying because you are an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. So again, those visa waivers, 90-day visa, cancel. visa waiver. You can come and travel in the United States without a visa. It's a 90-day pass, basically, to come to the United States. And you're not allowed to go and adjust status based on a job offer or any other thing like that. The one category is the immediate relative, so they will allow you to do that. So if you can, if so, under the scenario, then if you enter on a visa waiver, oops, it's over 90 days. Oops, you know, I'm not supposed to go to any other categories. It is okay to get a green card if you entered on a visa waiver. It says so right here in the form. So we're good with that. General instructions. Fill out Form I-485. Type or print legibly in black ink. If extra space is needed to complete any item, attach a continuation sheet. Indicate the item number and date and sign each sheet. This form has lots of opportunities for giving extra information, as you will see. So if that needs to happen, what you're going to do is get a separate sheet and you're going to fill it out, write it out by hand. You're going to put the item number, you're going to date and sign each sheet, and that way that sheet will be incorporated into the record, the official record of your green card application. Very important to do that. Answer all questions fully and accurately. State that an item is not applicable with NA. If the answer is none, write none. Do not leave any blank spaces in the forms. That's always a really good thing, because then they don't know if you forgot, left one out accidentally, or if you really have the response is none or NA. You must file your application with the required initial evidence described below. Yeah. Your application must be properly signed and filed with the correct fee. Definitely. If you're under 14 years of age, your parent or guardian may sign your application. That's nice. Translations. We're going to have documents that probably need to be translated a lot of times. So any document containing foreign language submitted to a USCIS shall be accompanied by a full English language translation, which the translator has certified as complete and accurate, and by the translator's certification that he or she is competent to translate from the foreign language into English. That means that someone who's competent can do it. They don't need to be a licensed translator or some high-end person that way. Can't be you, a husband or the wife. You can't do it on your own. You need to use a translator. Copies. This is good. Unless specifically required that an original document be filed with an application or petition, an ordinary legible photocopy may be submitted. And I only send copies of stuff. Do not send the original passport. Do not send the original marriage certificate, birth certificates, all that stuff. When you go to your interview at the end of this process, you bring all the original stuff with you. Okay? So in this process, filing a Xerox copy is perfect. Initial evidence.